Hey guys, welcome to another video. And today, last weekend, I spent a beautiful weekend at Renton City Retro, which is a gaming event in Renton, Washington, my old city. Now, this was my first show actually attending as a guest, which was pretty cool. I got to do a panel with John Riggs and Jay from the Game Chasers, but unfortunately, we weren't able to record that, but that was a lot of fun. But going here right now, as you can see, it was pretty busy. And I kind of wanted to give you guys an insight of how the event is. So pretty much you have your video games, and you also have people selling like art and stuff like that. There's a free play arcade, which was really nice. I love the free play arcade. They had a couple of pinball machines I was really impressed with. I love pinball. Now, as you can see, the event was pretty packed and busy. So I kind of minimized my recording on this day. I recorded most of my stuff the next day, which was Sunday. Mother's Day, which things had calmed down, but it was easier to get around and capture a lot of good footage for you guys. And it was also funny Saturday too, when I was reaching to grab my wallet to purchase something, I noticed my wallet was missing. I lost my wallet at the event. Well, I lost it at the hotel. Luckily somebody found it and I recovered it, but that was pretty much a crazy scare because I don't keep money in my wallet, but I just have my IDs in there, so it's annoying to go to DMV and try to get all that stuff back. It's like, I don't want to stand in those lines or sit in those lines. Now here's some footage of Sunday before they opened, and I kind of got, as you can see, it's easier to kind of look at some stuff here. This guy was selling a bunch of PC stuff. I didn't see any big box stuff that I think Jason would be interested in, but it was still nice to see this stuff there. This booth had a lot of Wii U and Wii games, also GameCube stuff too, Super Nintendo. Pretty impressed, but I'm not really actively looking for a lot of that stuff. I feel like I got a lot of it out of the way years ago, so it's really hard to find some stuff, but it's still always cool to see this stuff in the wild. I love it. I did think seeing like a lot of these N64 imports was cool, and I almost picked one up, but then I realized I don't even have an N64 anymore. But seeing these controllers was actually pretty cool. I want to know, did you guys actually like this design for a controller back in the day? I wouldn't admit it years ago, man, but the N64 controller just, I don't like it, man. This booth was really cool, had a lot of different stuff. I was actually looking at this handheld here. This is old school, but I was like, man, I do not have room for this, so I kind of passed it up. But the price kind of threw me off too. But I think here's one of those quarter arcades or one-up arcades. No, that's a one-up arcade, like a tabletop one. Thought that was cool to see. This booth had a lot of old school movie stuff like Godzilla, Monster, Mary Poppins, as you can see there. Lots of cool little posters you could buy and other stuff. Nothing really too interesting here for me, but it's just nice to see all this stuff just in case you might want to take an interest in it. Now here's a quick look at Riggs' booth. What I love about Riggs when he sells stuff, he sells a variety of stuff. So it's always nice to see all the different stuff he's selling. Like he's selling tennis shoes, he got his games, he got the Yeah Yeah Beavis on Game Boy Advance now, which I didn't know about, so that was cool. He's got some TurboGrafx games. Lots of good stuff here. Definitely always like seeing his booth. Here's the free play arcade. This game right here, this is Sailor Moon the arcade game. A lot of people don't know this exists. This is a 4-player beat 'em up. Well, with this one, it was a 2-player beat 'em up. Then you got Die Hard Arcade. Then you got Street Fighter Third Strike, which is the best Street Fighter in existence. I don't care what anybody says. So cutting back to Sunday, which was Mother's Day, there was more time, more room to play a lot of these games. And I decided to try out Ghostbusters and Pirates of the Caribbean. Both of these arcade games, I believe, are more the newer ones made by Stern. It's nice to see these companies still making these pinball machines. I think there's only 2 main ones right now. I know Stern has always been around. There's something else. There might be a couple others I don't know about, but still, just happy to see these pinballs in general. They were a lot of fun, even though I didn't do too well at them. This booth had a lot of cool stuff. As you can see there, the Zelda promotional disc, which I believe came with 4 Zelda games. Misadventures of Tron Bond, Lunar, Sealed Games, Armored Core. Can you guys believe the Armored Core has gone up the way it has in price? That's pretty insane. Looked at some Game Boy Advance games, see if I needed any of these loose copies. Didn't need any, but it's still nice to see that stuff. I got to meet some developers that were presenting their new games at the show. This is Scalobo. This is a turn-based, I believe this was a turn-based RPG, but this is the first time they actually showed footage for it, and hopefully by the time this video comes out, they'll have a trailer available for you guys. But I did want to show you a little bit of the gameplay footage of how the game looks. Now, what was interesting about them when they were telling me about their game is that they had no degrees in making video games or any experience. They just kind of just learned on their own and were able to put this together. And I thought that was amazing. I feel like the hands-on approach is always one of the best ways to learn about stuff. And I think this is going to be something pretty cool in the future. So hopefully they'll have more information about it. But it looks very interesting. And guys, I'm sorry, I already forgot your names, man, but you guys were awesome to meet at the show. I just remember, it's hard to remember everything, but definitely you got something cool on your hands. Here was another company. They were called Game Losers, and they had a few games on display. But one of the games here, I forgot what it was called exactly, but I'm going to show you guys some gameplay. It was pretty weird, but it was actually pretty fun. So I think this one was called D-Dream D-Diver or something like that. It was some weird names. But this is about a girl who's looking for her father in her dream. She's supposed to meet him at some kind of bar. And it was pretty weird, but it was pretty cool. And I asked the developer, would he ever consider putting this on an NES cart? He said, I don't know, man. I don't think anybody would want this on a cart. But, you know, there's some hardcore NES collectors out there. So I definitely think someone would want this on a cart. Probably should talk to John Riggs. I think this one is called Enormous Adventures. This is another platform game they had on the USB drive they gave me. And this one seemed pretty simple. You know, I didn't get killed right away. If you like platforming, this is probably one of the first games you want to play. I always like seeing developers get their ideas out there for games, you know. Whether this will be put on a cart or not, it's still cool that it's out there. And now, back on the hunt. You know, when it comes to loose Game Boy games, you know, I usually don't collect this stuff, but if I see something cool, you know, I might pick it up if it's a good price for me. You know, I forgot to mention at this show that I brought a lot of trade, so most of the purchases I got were through trade, and luckily everybody liked what I brought. You know, I usually try to bring, you know, good stuff that I think, you know, resellers could sell pretty easy or whatnot. And if you're looking at the prices of these Game Boy games and box you're seeing here, it makes me really glad that I was ahead of the game when I got my Game Boy stuff years ago. Now here, pretty much more common stuff here, you know, PS4, Xbox 360 stuff, you know, stuff that's pretty easy to find, you know, like some newer games too, like you probably saw that Back 4 Blood there. PS3, I feel like I'm really done with this system. I didn't find any PS3 games, so I was pretty good in that selection. Now I know I'm sounding like a broken record here, but people always ask me, like, Reggie, like, where do you go hunting for games? And, you know, I don't really go out game hunting. You know, I usually just wait for these type of events, and this is where I do my shopping. I just don't really have the desire to really go to a lot of stores anymore. You know, like, if it's in a different state, yeah, but here in Washington, I'm kind of like I've seen pretty much all of them, so I'm kind of like burnt out, I would say. But going to something like this, you know, these events, I always find something cool to look at. So here were some more loose Game Boy games. I believe this booth had some like action figures at the bottom of the table, and a couple of other cool accessories. You know, this was a nice booth to look at. But mainly for me, I mainly try to stay focused on the more modern games. I think, you know, when it comes to like buying on the cheap. So I was checking out their PS4 games. I did look back at some of their retro though. They had a couple good Game Boy games in box, but they're expensive. You know, the Game Boy stuff is just in boxes. Whew. It's kind of hit or miss. It depends on where you find it at. But I almost picked up that Tiny Toons you just saw there, but it was just a box, and I just didn't feel like buying the cart separately, so I passed on it. But this booth did have some cool stuff, and I almost bought this Kirby fan. I should have got it, but I don't know. The room, you know, in summertime, I could use a fan around here, but still, just too much. So that's pretty much it. You know, I hope you guys enjoyed like seeing how the show was. You know, I did get to talk to Riggs one last time before I left the show, which we had a funny conversation about like how busy these shows are.
There'll be a time and a place for it.
Come on now.
Yeah,
it's the only time I get a chance to eat is when I'm not flapping my lips, you know, talking to people and making deals. So I can't be shopping for games when I'm holding food, so I just got to do what I can, you know.
So I decided to go to the local retro gaming store that was next to this event, and I don't know if a lot of you guys know this, but I used to work with my buddy Emilio at the store, and those were some fun times. So I want to say it was back in 2011 when Emilio came up with the idea for running a business for video games and collectibles, and it's crazy. It's 2023 to see how far everything's come. You know, it's pretty amazing. So we are going to go inside and see how things are. As you can see, it is pretty busy. It was popping in here. On the right hand side here, that is Tiffany, the manager of the store. She's running things. She was pretty busy, and I got to look around a bit and see a lot of cool stuff that you guys are going to see here in a second. But because the store is very different from when I last was here. I think I was here a couple years ago, like right before COVID had happened, and they changed a lot of stuff around. So I was pretty amazed with what I saw. But they have a lot of different sections for people to shop in. There's cards, there's toys, of course there's video games, as you see here. I was pretty overwhelmed because after coming from the convention and then coming to the store, you know, I wanted to spend a lot of time in the store to look around carefully to find something, which I did, which you guys will see at the end of the video. What I liked about the store's design is that everything that's high price is in the front. So right in front of the store, you'll see all the high price items, systems, things like that. And another great thing about the store is that there's a lot of room to move around. Like if you're in an aisle with somebody, you won't be crowded pretty much. So a lot of stores have that problem where the aisles are too crowded. You know, it's like, you don't want to go over there because there's a lot of people over there. But this place is roomy enough to where everybody can see the item they're looking at. The store was definitely stocked with a lot of N64 stuff. You know, I was like, this is the first store I've seen in a while that had a good stock of N64 games. You know, I remember during COVID, that stuff was selling out and still was pretty much selling out afterwards. And then here, controllers and things like that, like the third-party controllers they sell, cool. A lot of retro bit stuff, which I've talked about in videos that you guys have seen. Here are some of the NES games. Not too interested in these as of right now. I feel like my NES collection is pretty fulfilled, but you never know. That could always change in the future. That's how it always goes when it comes to collecting games. You never know when you'll change your mind about something. But I do feel complete with my NES collection. Now, Super Nintendo stuff, I kind of feel the same way as well. You know, only thing I find interesting with Super Nintendo stuff is probably like going to like games that have been translated. And here was the 3DS selection. I pretty much was good here, but I wish I picked up that Sonic collection for the DS. That has the first 4 Sonic games on there, including Sonic and Knuckles. Here's the Switch games. I found a couple. Well, I found one here that you'll see later in the video, but I wish I picked up another one as well. And then here's the Sega Genesis. A lot of you guys will notice that my Sega Genesis collection is not what it used to be. I traded and sold a lot of the games to get other games I wanted. So, but it was nice to look at this selection here. Master System's another system I've never collected for. Super Famicom, not really. Of course, PlayStation. I feel like my collection is plateaued. But I feel like I should have picked up that Black Dawn. And shout out to my buddy Evan for recommending the Dirt Jockey. I actually picked that up a couple years ago because of him. But they had a solid PlayStation collection. A lot of cool stuff here. I wish I would have dug through it a little bit longer, though. Now, here's the import section. A lot of people don't really know about imports. I feel like this is where a lot of the hidden gems are. And I found a couple looking through here. I was really happy. I will show them later in this video, but a lot of stuff here. And I know it's hard unless you read Japanese or whatever. You know, it's hard to like read what type of games these are. But some of them have English labels, but I get, well, you don't know what you're looking at unless you pull them out. So I pulled out each and every one of these games. And here is the Street Fighter 15th anniversary fight stick, which was my favorite back in the day. I can't believe they still have this at the store. I'm pretty sure that's another one they got, but man, just seeing it in the store brings back memories. And GameCube games on the shelf. Wow. Lots of those. That was pretty cool to see. I mean, not a lot, but you know, just enough to be kind of impressive because GameCube is flying off the shelves as well. And here's one more last look before we head out. This is the other part of the store where they sell cards, Pokemon items, toys, which is a big thing. You know, a lot of collectible toys. And, you know, just overall, just want to give you guys a look at it. You know, I don't know if you guys are interested in a lot of that stuff, but for those of you that are, you know, this is definitely the place to come to. And now, of course, it's your favorite time. It's time to see the pickup. So let's take a look. Here's Night of Asher Part 2, Bride of the New Moon. I beat the first game years ago, really enjoyed it, but I was kind of surprised that I didn't really take any interest in this one until now. And honestly, I kind of see why. I feel like this is like a PS3 game with the way the frame rate is and everything like that, but still, I'm happy I'm playing this one. It's actually a lot of fun, more fun than I thought it would be. Now, this is an action RPG. It really feels similar to if you played games like Folklore on the PS3. It kind of like has that vibe to it. Well, at least later in the game it does. But the game was able to pull me in, and I'm really enjoying what I'm playing so far. Still in the beginning stages, you know. I know this game is just about, what, 4 or 5 years old now. Never mind. I'm not going to say anything because, you know, somebody in the chat will be like spoilers or something like that. So, but if you're looking for an action RPG, it has a nighttime feel to it. Lots of beautiful scenery, stuff like that. You definitely might want to play this game. And if I'm not convincing you, because like I said, I'm still in the beginning stages of the game, but I would definitely say check out Tark's Gauntlet's video about this game. He did a really in-depth video about it. It's very informative, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to pick this game up, because of his video. So definitely check it out. I'll leave a link somewhere here. I don't know where, but I'll leave a link to the video, and you guys can check that out. But yeah, Knights of Asher 2, I would say pick this one up. So I picked up Brothers. Now, I had this game on my PlayStation years ago, and I got about halfway through it before I got stuck on a puzzle, and I just kind of lost interest in it. But I wanted to pick this game up because I felt like it was good, and, you know, I was going to beat it, but I just fell off from it. Now I have more time to play it. And pretty much you play as these two brothers. You control them both at the same time, I believe, with both of the analog sticks. And their father gets sick and injured, so they're trying to find a cure for him for a sickness he's got, I believe. And you go through the game, and it's very story-driven, very puzzle-heavy, I would say. It's a very unique game, and I think a lot of people will like this game if they like puzzle-oriented games. You know, not too puzzle-heavy where it'll be like mind-blowing or anything like that, but, you know, just interesting and very clever, I would say. So, if you see this out there, I would say definitely pick it up on the PS4. It's not very expensive. Hopefully it'll stay that way. I know it was released on the Switch as a physical if people are interested in that. So you can get it on the Switch as well, but it'll be more pricey. But definitely an interesting game I think a lot of people should pick up. Shantae for the Game Boy Color. This is the limited run version. I forgot that they did this, and I saw it at the show, and I traded one item for it. I decided to get this one because my original copy, you know, I don't want it to get all beat up from me like trying to play the cartridge, and I shouldn't actually be playing the cartridge anymore since they ported that game to the Game Boy, to the Switch, and I think to the PS4. But I just really got this off impulse. You know, I thought it was kind of cool to have a new version of the Game Boy version in box. So just more of an impulse buy. But Shantae is a great platform series that's really gotten a lot of people's attention with how good it was. It originally came out on the Game Boy Color like towards the end of its life cycle, and a lot of people missed out on it. That's why the original is so rare. But now the company who created the game, Way Forward, they have created a lot of good sequels for the series as well. So I'd say you guys would definitely want to try those out as well. But I'm glad Limited Run made a physical for it on the Game Boy Color. I do wish that they didn't have to put their Limited Run logo all over it. It could have been like Game Boy, but I guess, you know, obviously Nintendo's got that copyrighted, so they had to go the other route. And it looks like Riggs has ported Yeah Yeah Beavis to the Game Boy Advance. I was shocked when I was at his table and I saw this. I was like, wow, it's on Game Boy Advance now. Cool. I know a lot of you guys know the Game Boy Advance is probably one of my favorite portable systems of all time next to the PSP. So when I saw this, had to get it. Thanks, John, for hooking up a copy of it. I appreciate you. And I talked about this game on my channel before. It was pretty much a game where you just clear up the enemies on the screen. You know, there's obstacles that happen. You get upgrades, but your main goal is to clear out all enemies on the screen and move on to the next level. It's pretty cool. Contra, Legacy of War. Look, I don't want to burn your eyes too much with this game. You know, it was on the cheap, so I went ahead and picked it up. I was hoping the 3D glasses were in here, but they weren't. But I could throw some other 3D glasses in here just to kind of make it complete. But this is where the Contra series kind of dipped in opposite direction of what it should have gone in. You know, they should always kept these games 2D or even top down somewhat next to like a 2D side scrolling like they did with Super Contra. But they wanted to go a new route with this one, and it kind of deterred the series for a lot of years. But maybe there's something I like about this one. I think it has a built-in game, a gyrus in it, so maybe I'll play that too. But anyways, guys, or is it gyrus or dire? I can't remember. But anyways, Contra on a 32-bit PlayStation. Can't recommend it, but if you're hardcore, maybe you'll check it out. Here's Bravely Second, End Layer. So I actually enjoyed the first game, but I heard this one is a lot better. I'm not really sure yet. Maybe I have it around backwards, but I saw this for cheap. A sealed copy was going for $40, so you say, you know what? I don't have that 3DS game, and I feel like I'm at the end of my 3DS collection, so this was one I was missing. So I feel like this will be one of the last games I get, but you never know. But anyways, this is a turn-based RPG that really got a lot of praise back when it first came out on 3DS. I don't know if this game will come out on any other system. I believe it lives and dies on a 3DS system, but you never know. Square Enix might port it if they decide to bring out a sequel to it. But I'm just getting into this one, so hopefully it's good. You guys let me know what you think about it. All right, so I picked up Mother Russia Bleeds. A lot of people out there did my beat 'em ups video, the top 10 modern beat 'em ups. They said this game should have been included on the list. And also, CAG was telling me about this one as well. So I saw it at the event. Actually, I traded my buddy Jesse for it. Jesse, you guys remember me and Jason were at his storage. I picked it up from him, and I'm just hoping that this game is as good as everybody says it is. You know, I saw some of the intro screens for it. You know, I saw how you start off in a fight and a brawl, and they freaking gash you, and you get kidnapped, and you're taken to some brawl or something like that. I can't remember what else happens, but it's 1 to 4 players, which is cool. Unfortunately, yes, we know it's not online, which it should be. But either way, I'm still happy to have this. If it lives up to being as good as everybody says it is, so hopefully that's true. But anyways, got it in the collection. Thanks for the recommendations. All right, so I picked up the Tales of the World game. So we actually got the first one here in America on the PSP, but I think the popularity of the PSP, it was kind of like on a down spiral when the second and third ones came out, so they decided not to release them in America. But the reason I picked these up, because I got them through an easy trade, but I noticed that somebody had translated both games, at least the menus for now, in English. So I feel like they're going to translate the game a bit later, of course. But eventually I'll be able to play through the game. But I wanted to have the physicals as more as a novelty to that. So eventually I'll be able to play these games. And it's going to be nice because you're going to be able to play like these little mini side stories with some of your favorite characters from the Tales series. So I'm looking forward to that. I'd always been curious about Men in Black, the series crashed down for the PlayStation 1. So this is a first-person shooter like similar to games like Doom. And from what I've seen of it, it actually looks pretty good. So I'm looking forward to playing this one. It was only, I think it was like $10 or I got it less. I can't remember, but it was worth it. And it's a PS1 game I was missing. So hopefully, I never watched the series, the cartoon that came on. I hear mixed things about it, but still, even if it's like mixed on that game, this game might actually be a solid first person. So, yeah, let me know what you think about this one in the comments. And here is Motor Tune Grand Prix. So, we actually got this game in America, but a lot of people don't know that we actually got the second game. This is actually the first game that they made, and it only came out in Japan. And I saw this, I went ahead and picked it up. Now, one of the reasons I like this game because I love the cartoony look. If you guys remember, I'm hoping most of my audience remembers like movies like Who Framed Roger Rabbit. You have those kind of goofy animations in here, and the car reminds me of the car from Who Framed Roger Rabbit. So definitely happy to have this in the collection. A lot of people don't know that this game was actually made by the people who created Gran Turismo. So before Sony locked them into making Gran Turismo games only, they were out there making other games, and this is one of their first games. So you see this out there, or if you see the American version, definitely try them out. They're actually fun racing games. They're a bit goofy with the physics, but it's still pretty fun. The original Star Ocean for the Super Famicom. So I saw this at the show, and you guys know how I feel about the Star Ocean series. I love it. I had to pick it up, and there was a complete copy there for $20, so I said, why not? Now, this game has been pretty much remade on the PSP, PS4, and Switch, and I do prefer people play those copies over this one, but this one's just more close if you're like into the 16-bit era. This one's definitely fun to play. They didn't get all their ideas out with this one. They did with the remakes, which is nice, like new characters and other story bits, but still, I feel like this one's a solid game to play. On the level of Tales of Fantasia. So here's Deep Freeze. So this is an action game, where it's very similar to like the functions of something like Resident Evil, the original Resident Evils with different camera angles and things like that. If you play games like Trag, aka Hard Edge, you'll know what you're getting into here. This game should have came out to America, but because it's fully in English too, like the voice actors, but the text is all Japanese. But you can still play it. But I'm hoping someday somebody will actually translate this one because it's actually pretty cool. Here's a game I didn't even know existed. This is Poppin' Twin Bee Puzzle. It's called something else. I can't really remember. I'm sorry. But it's a puzzle game that came out for the PlayStation 1. It's very similar to like Puyo Pop or another one I can't think of right now. But it's pretty simple, I would say. But you guys know how I feel about the Poppin' Twin Bee series. I love it. They were actually shoot 'em ups that a lot of people don't even know about to this day. But to know they came out with a puzzle game, I thought that was pretty cool. There is an RPG that they had come out for it too, but I'm not messing with that until someone translates that.